y'all, my name is Hannah Herrero and this is my tiny home, and we're here in the mountains of East Tennessee. So this tiny home is a 10-foot by 30-foot by 14-foot model called the Toccoa from Wind River Tiny Homes. And we're here on my property, which is about 3/4 of an acre. So initially getting the house set up was a little bit more challenging than I had anticipated. There were quite a few factors, such as getting the gravel pad, getting water and electricity put in, making sure that we anchor everything down, skirting. But once we got all of those things sorted out, it was pretty easy when the home was delivered here in December of 2022 to get it all set up. When I set this home up, I did get the electricity inspected, but there weren't any other requirements other than that. One of my favorite features of the home is the cedar accent on the outside. And I'd love to show you all the rest of the inside if you want to come with me. Welcome in. The house is about 399 square feet, and one of my favorite features is how open the design is. Originally, I had wanted a 24-foot, but then I decided that if I extended to the 30-foot, I would have a little bit more flexibility in my design, as well as some more storage space. I really loved working with the team at Wind River Tiny Homes because they were super patient with me. As a first-time home builder, there were a lot of decisions that I needed to make that I struggled with a little bit, and so they really helped guide me through all of that, as well as weekly communications that were super helpful for me to actually watch the dream come true. So we're here in the living room, and one of my favorite features is this storage couch. So this was actually custom built by Wind River Tiny Homes and has these 3 massive drawers in it, as well as a big underneath the couch storage space on the back corner. I also chose this because it has extra storage space for cozy blankets inside of here. So this is my reading nook, and I love sitting here because when I'm reading my book, Merlot is always curled up on the footstool, which means I can't use it, but I'm glad to spend cozy time with him. And then I also love this wood burning stove, which is great during the winter. It is very small, but it actually produces a lot more heat than you would think it is. And it does have a little bit of a learning curve with the vents, but once you figure out how to use it, it's great. So one of my design ideas was to have a broken brick backsplash here on the wood stove and then continue it on into the kitchen. And I thought that this would help me to maintain a little bit of the historic house vibes that I have loved over the last decade, but still have a new build. On this side of the house, in the kitchen, we have this peninsula, and this is one of the reasons that I had chosen the larger model, was to have this as an option. I love this because I can eat here, this is where I do all my work, and there's extra storage on both sides here. I ended up selecting these chairs on Wayfair, and it was a little bit challenging. I had to make sure that I was accommodating of counter height rather than bar height. And I also wanted something that had a back and arms and was very comfortable and high quality leather because the fact that I would be working here quite often. But I'm very happy with how they turned out. And then moving into the next part of the kitchen, I chose this hammered copper sink, again, to try to stay with a little bit more of that historic vibe. And I also went with the open shelving to be a little bit more in line with an industrial look. So I really like how that came out. One of my favorite pastimes is cooking, and so I opted for a slightly larger range here, and it was also important to me to get gas, and so I have these 4 and a regular size oven, so I'm really able to use this functionally like you would with any other kitchen, and it's really nice to be able to have the vent here as well. And then another feature I was really appreciative of was the fact that they were able to accommodate this very large dishwasher while having it blend in with the rest of the kitchen with this cabinet front. So one of the things in the tiny house that I had to compromise on was the refrigerator. I really loved the look of a retro refrigerator, but it was only in a full size, and it was more important for me to have storage above here, so I ended up going with just a plain black. It was important for me to have continuity of colors in here, and since I wanted to keep with all black appliances, we went ahead and special ordered this black mini split from LG. And also thinking about airflow in here, I did install a fan in the living room just to keep things circulating. And then continuing over here, I have my laundry area, and I've gone with a 2-in-1 washer dryer combo unit from LG. And for the most part, this works pretty well, but perhaps that's because I like to hang dry a lot of my clothes on the fence outside. But if you do want to dry something like sheets or towels, it could take a significant amount of time, sometimes up to 4 hours. I wanted to live in a tiny home for a variety of reasons. One of the primary ones was just decreasing my footprint and living more simply. Most of my life is spent outside, mostly on the farm, and I didn't really need the space, especially just being me and my dog. And so I thought it would be simpler and also easier to maintain, especially being gone and on the road as much as I am. So it seemed like a really good option to get the chance to build my dream home exactly the way that I wanted it, but in a smaller size. And also, if I ever did want to move, I wanted to be able to move my home with me. I'm from New Smyrna Beach, Florida, which is about 20 minutes south of Daytona. And I moved up here to Tennessee to become a professor at the University of Tennessee in the Department of Geography and Sustainability. I specialize in human-environment interactions and remote sensing, which is satellite imagery analysis with applications for conservation, particularly in grasslands of Southern Africa and Florida, and a lot of work around protected areas too. For fun, I have a horse who lives about 20 minutes from me, and we like to do a lot of trail riding and just kicking around for fun at this point, hoping to show maybe next year, but she's still pretty young. And then moving into the bathroom, another one of my favorite features that was an upgrade was tiling the whole shower. I thought that this gave it a little bit more of an elegant look and just upgraded in general. Something else that was really important to me was getting a little bit more of a natural stone sink, so I've gone with this and the matching butcher block counters from the kitchen. Okay, now one of everyone's favorite thing to talk about is the Cinderella toilet. So this is an incinerating toilet from Norway, but it has all of the emissions checks from the US. And so there's actually a flue on the outside where this burns up and some fumes go out that way. And then about once a month, you actually come in and take out the lower unit here and just empty the ash. But it's pretty straightforward and a really great option to not have to worry about septic tanks. And then I chose to put in a tankless water heater. This was a great option for me because I didn't have to worry about storing a large tank, and it's propane run, which I already have for my gas stovetop. Something else that I added that was very custom to the house is a whole house water filtration system. And I think this is just great because it improves the taste as well as deleting some of the chemicals and sediments that come in your water. So despite how small this bathroom is, there's actually a lot of storage underneath the sink, as well as in both of these cabinets that house the water heater and the whole house water filtration system. In thinking a little bit more about storage, I went ahead and opted with more closet space. The original design on this house was an under the stairs desk that had a window here, but this allowed me to be able to house a lot more of my things because I have the peninsula to use as my workspace. So in here, I keep most of my clothes items. And you can see how huge this closet is, and this area specifically is designated for more of my cold weather bulky items. And there's more storage here as well, but one of my favorite options for this house was having a dog door installed. However, at the moment, I'm currently just using this as my dog station in general for food and leashes and collars and all of his other supplies. And through the back of this is the dog door, which I'm currently not using because it's much higher than ground level, but I'm hoping someday to put a deck out there so that he can walk right out onto it. Something else that I customized about this house are the height of the risers. I made them a little bit smaller to accommodate Merlot. So if we go upstairs, this is where my bedroom is. Up here in the bedroom, one of the customizations that I made was the creation of this box storage for all of my shoes. I do have quite a few shoes, although I only wear about 4 pairs of them. Something else that is a little bit different in this house compared to some others is the mattress. This was my first time purchasing a mattress, and so I thought it was really important to get something that was very comfortable. And so this is about 4 inches taller than what a normal mattress would be, which is why you can see I'm a little bit close to the ceiling here. But I'm getting the best night's sleep I ever have, so it doesn't bother me. And I have some custom made blinds throughout the house. These up here actually have blackout shades on them just for my sleeping preference. But it's one of my favorite things about spring and fall in East Tennessee is that it is sleeping with the windows open weather. And so these actually slide back to open on both sides, which creates a really nice cross breeze in here. When I moved up to Tennessee, before I even got here, I had purchased a home just because the way that the market was at that time was really low interest rates. And so I purchased a historic home here. But it turns out when you own a historic home, there's quite a bit of maintenance and upkeep and things breaking. It was more than 100 years old. So while I loved it and it was beautiful and a lovely entertaining space, this was a better fit for me to have something that was much more low maintenance. And I knew that I really enjoyed living a minimalist lifestyle. And so I never had a lot of stuff, material things to begin with. The way that I was able to purchase this land was through the sale of my home. This property, like I said, is about 3/4 of an acre and it was $40,000. I was, because of some accessibility issues initially, able to purchase it for $30,000. So that was really great. The tiny house, I went a little overboard on customizations. I knew that I wanted to be able to build my sort of dream forever home for the long haul, so I felt okay about doing that. I think initially the cost of the home, as was with the options that they give standard, was $105,000. But then with all of the customizations that I added, it ended up being, I believe, $160,000. So in terms of the sustainability of living tiny, I think it just makes so much more sense from an earth perspective, but also from a human perspective. So to give you an example, my utilities for water and electric where I was living before was about $500 a month in that historic home. And here it's always less than $70 a month. So that's been, from a human perspective, something that's very tangible. But from the environmental perspective, that means that we were using so much more energy and it was so much less efficient living in that older home. Living in the tiny home, I feel like I'm getting a lot more out of life because I'm not spending home time. I'm able to do the things that I want to do while still being totally accommodated in terms of sleeping space and cooking space and living space and working space. So I'm able to, I think, get more out of life living in a tiny home.
Thank you for watching our video and for stopping by Tiny House Expedition. I'm Alexis.
And I'm Christian. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And for more tiny home tours and stories, click the videos below.
And join us on Instagram for bonus content,
including face-to-face conversations with us. We hope to see you there.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.